Hello, welcome to the Mooney Saws product spotlight session. Today's session will focus on our PMI 455 A, which is an automatic circular upcut saw. I'm Dave McCallum, and I'm joined by Patrick Thornton and Keegan Thornton. So let's talk about the PMI 455 A. This saw is a fully automatic upcut saw to cut various non-ferrous materials such as aluminum, brass, copper, plastic as well. It can cut solid bars as well as extrusions. It uses an 18-inch diameter carbide tip saw blade. It has a very powerful 10 horsepower saw motor. The blade feed is controlled hydraulically. It does have a touchscreen control, which you can quickly program your cut lengths and the quantity of cuts as well. The material indexing is controlled by a ball screw with a servo motor, which runs on linear rails. This gives you very accurate positioning of the cut length. It does have a precise micro drip system for the blade lubrication. So it's just applying a fine droplet of coolant to the carbide teeth. If you're dealing with any thinner wall material, you do have the ability to adjust the clamping pressure. This is done pneumatically, so you don't possibly distort the shape of the part as it's clamping. It also is a complete enclosed machine with safety limit switches for making it a nice, safe work environment as it's cutting the material. The list price on the saw is $38,250, and we have these machines in stock. We find that the saws are sold to a lot of different industries and for different applications. But some of the industries that we do sell to, here's a listing of quite a few, but there'll be metal service centers or machine shop, job shops, the boat manufacturers, companies that do any weapon or gun accessories that manufacture those type of components. Your trailer industry could be part of this, recreational and commercial. Different awnings or storefronts. So a variety of industry could benefit from a machine like this, as opposed to possibly doing it a slower way, maybe on a bandsaw. This will give you much better results and a much cleaner finish. So now that you know a little bit more about the PMI 455A, I'm going to turn it over to Patrick and Keegan right now, and they are going to give you a live demonstration on this saw. So take it away, guys.
Dave, thanks for starting us out. Now we are in our showroom in Addison, Illinois, and we are going to go over the 455A, the PMI 455A today. But before we move over to that machine, we wanted to show you what people could potentially be using if they're not using one of, an upcut or another circular. So a lot of times people are using a bandsaw, an auto feed bandsaw to cut a lot of their material. And, we obviously think that's great because we sell those too. But if the majority of someone's cutting is non-ferrous material or aluminum, so softer metals or even plastics, and not steel, one of the PMI 455 A-types could be a really nice fit. It's a nice entry level point into an auto feed circular saw. So if you do see, people cutting a lot of aluminum or other non-ferrous materials on a bandsaw, you might want to think about talking to them about the PMI 455 A-type. So we'll go over and now we'll show you the PMI 455 A. So as Dave mentioned, it's an auto feed saw, and the material indexing is done with the carriage vise, which is pneumatic clamping, and it clamps both horizontally and vertically. So you have top clamps that cover the entire cutting width capacity of the machine. And you actually have two of them. So you have one here and then one here. So oftentimes in like the bandsaw world, these are what people would refer to as a bundle clamp. So these clamps are meant to cut a stack of aluminum, so you can cut multiple pieces at once. The same thing at the saw head, that's going to have clamping. Both sides of the blade are done with this clamp right here, as well as horizontal clamps to keep you against the back fence. The indexing vise, it moves with a servo motor with an encoder, a servo drive, and then a ball screw. The ball screws back behind that cover. And the carriage is mounted on two large linear rails. So it is moving on two linear rails. And the single stroke on this machine is about 27 inches. So in one stroke, it'll do 27 inches of stroke. Upcut style machine, 18-inch diameter blade, and it comes up, below from the work table, below the work table up through the material. And it's a 10 horsepower motor. So with a full hydraulic feed, it's not an air-over-oil hydraulic feed. So it can cut small solid bars, in production. And when I say small, like 2-inch square, 3-inch round, it'll do like a really nice job handling, that up to about that size. And it can do a little bit larger depending on the, the volume that's going to be cut, or it can handle hollow profiles as well. Touchscreen control. So there is a touch screen for entering in all your cut lengths, and then a PLC, that controls all the machine's operations of the PLC. But in the touch screen, you do get a nice visual of the program, a couple different programming modes, and then we do have a nice view of like all your IOs, if there's any alarms on the machines. Those are all available through the touchscreen. So just to give you a flavor for, how it cuts, we're going to make a few cuts in the automatic cycle. And watching that, obviously, compared to a bandsaw cut or someone doing it manually, it's significantly faster. We did a trim cut, and then we made 2 cuts to 2 inches in the automatic cycle. Matter of seconds, you're going to get 4 parts. So obviously, surface quality is going to be a lot better than what you get in a bandsaw, and you're also going to get a much more accurate cut. No stringy burrs or anything like you'd get on a bandsaw. And we were just running a general purpose saw blade. So that does it for our presentation on the PMI-455 A-Type. If you have any questions, you can contact us. Thank you again for joining us.